This week on the podcast, we are venturing into week 2 of our Summer of Pirates series. Yeah, I just named it that right now as we talk about Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dissect That Film podcast, where we dissect the good, the bad, and the ugly of your favorite films and film franchises. I am Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-hosts Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
Videos get taken down for that, by the way.
To be honest, I wasn't even looking at the screen when you did it, so
probably for the better.
Yeah.
She licked me. I'm let you know.
Oh, okay. That's. I've seen worse on YouTube.
We're married. It's not.
No one watches our YouTube anyways. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. Somebody might be like, oh God,
I know that was.
I gotta find that video.
The people who actually do, I apologize. They're like, no, not anymore.
We're done.
Numbers down.
We just lost some viewers. But we're still gonna listen.
Today we are talking about the second Pirates of the Caribbean film, Dead Man's Chest, which came out in 2006. What I found out today was that they filmed this and the third one back to back.
I said that. I said when we watched this, because it was like 2003, 2006. I was like, God, how far apart was the third one? 2007. I was like, they had to have made it back to back. There's no fucking way.
I mean, I probably should have figured that out earlier, but I was watching a behind the scenes video and they were like, yeah, they literally filmed the two movies for like 6 months. They were doing them. Orlando Bloom's like, can I just do a film and then take a break and then do another film? Because that's what they did with Lord of the Rings. They literally did the 3 Lord of the Rings movies back to back to back. So the fact that he had to do that again with the Pirates series, it was only 2 this time, but still, the dude's exhausted. All right, leave him alone.
That's why
he got his prize down the line. He's got a kid with Katy Perry now. He's living the dream. He's living the dream. Good for you, Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited because I'm actually feeling better for this episode. I actually got some rum today. I just want to apologize if the first Pirates episode isn't that good. I don't know if it is or not.
Oh fuck, we don't have anything for rum, do we?
No.
Shit. We should have went out and got it.
For everyone who's already listened
Okay.
to our episode last week, it was probably one of the shortest episodes we have recorded in probably a year and a half on a movie that was 2.5 hours. So I hope it's good, everybody. I hope it was good.
Well, we didn't do it any favors. I didn't. You did. She carried. She made it happen.
I just brought the
I
rum.
think it was still. We always have fun here. Just sometimes sickness creeps itself in, and it can sometimes derail how things go. Dan, remember during the live stream for the Cure thing, you were talking about a movie called Reptilicus?
I do, yeah.
I got mail from an awesome podcast called the Film Spark Podcast. They sent me some cool stickers. And the sticker, I don't want to flash their address on the screen, but the sticker on the envelope is a Reptilicus sticker.
Hey.
Oh, dude, okay. So let me tell you the thing I always remember about there's 2 scenes. It's where they drill. So they find Reptilicus buried underground because they're doing drilling. And they're like, the drill's stuck, and they pull it out, and they move the mud. And I always remember the guy's like, oh, it's like some kind of leather. And then it gets out of the factory, and they grow it. Like, they find a piece of it, and it grows back. Like, I don't know, there's a billion movies that have done this. I just can't think of one off the top of my head. So they find a piece of it, and it grows to the whole creature. They don't even mention the rest of it underground, but fuck that part. But, and then there's, like, a scene where, like, there's people fleeing from the city, and it's one of those bridges that opens up so boats could go under, big boats. Yep. And I just remember these scenes of like it's opening and there's like people like trying to jump and like falling and shit. And I didn't remember seeing that in a lot of movies of that time. Mm-hmm. And then Reptilicus has bat wings, and he's like a noodle snake.
Yeah. So when you guys listen to this episode, it will be the second week of June. So it's been a while since we were on the live stream for The Cure. an awesome event that took place over 3 days between May 18th and May 20th. We got to participate on the last day, talking about some bad movies. And Dan brought up this movie, and I just was looking down at my desk, and I saw this envelope with a Reptilicus sticker, and I was like, I gotta mention it in this episode. So there you go.
Nobody talks about this. It's not a good movie that I recall, but hey, why not?
Hey,
whenever we get to talk about Reptilicus.
Yes, we're gonna plan something, Dan. We're gonna plan a month of talking about those types of movies, and it was suggested by someone on Twitter. But we'll get to that later.
I'm all for that.
We're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest today, a movie
which has a monster in it.
Which does, and one of my favorite monsters, mythological creatures. But we'll get to that a little bit later. This movie came out, release date, July 7th, 2006. But it released on June 16th, 2006 at Disneyland. I love that they always premiered these movies at Disneyland. And Disneyland and Disney World also tweaked their Pirates of the Caribbean rides to incorporate characters from this movie. So Davy Jones was in the ride for a bit. Jack Sparrow is still in the ride today. As I stated in last week's episode, you can go through. He's in many of the scenes. And I think, I can't remember who there was a third character I think that they had incorporated in there. I think the monkey's in there somewhere. Other Jack.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? We saw this in theaters together.
Wow.
There's no way we couldn't have, because I've seen this movie in theaters. I saw it the second and third one. I was 20. We were together when this movie came out. So there's no way we couldn't have watched this together.
I don't remember.
I'm just saying it had to have happened.
I didn't see a single Pirates of the Caribbean movie in theaters.
I saw a second and then the third one.
I told my story about the third one, and I'll tell it again next week when we talk about at World's End.
Were we living in Beatrice then?
Had to have been. Yep.
I do remember this.
Had to have
There
been.
you go. So romantic.
Because the only other movie that I have seen in Beatrice was Spider-Man 3.
I remember seeing Spider-Man 3 in theaters because I went after a lacrosse practice because I was in high school, and I was actually a freshman in high school when Spider-Man 3 came out. And it was after lacrosse practice, went to the theater. The AC broke in the theater, so it was possibly the hottest movie theater I've ever sat in, and watched a very mediocre movie. So yay for that. Oh, God.
Everybody was sweating their ass off with Toby dancing. Like, oh, fuck. Is it him or is it the AC?
Oh, man. The budget on this movie was $225 million. But guess what? It grossed $1.066 billion at the box office, grossing over $400 million more than Curse of the Black Pearl. It was the highest grossing Disney property until Toy Story 3 came out in 2010.
I believe it.
Which is absolutely wild. So, cast, pretty much everybody that you saw in the last one, except for, well, actually, no. Somebody who does die in the last one does make his return in this one. But pretty much everyone from the return. 3?
No, there's like 3 new main people for the most part.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about them. So we have Johnny Depp, of course, is back as Jack Sparrow. We have Orlando Bloom back as William Turner. Keira Knightley as Elizabeth Swann. We have a new cast member. My favorite character in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, which is Davy Jones, played by Bill Nighy. We have Jack. Yeah, he's so good, and I just love this character. Davy Jones is just badass. Jack Davenport is back as James Norrington. We have another new character, Lord Cutler Beckett, who is just either he's half asleep or he's just the evilest man on earth. Played by Tom Hollander.
I wonder if he made his like money, or like, I know he's like a lord or whatever, but I just feel like being named Cutler, like you should have something to do with forks and knives. Like
that's his weapon of choice. His weapon is like if someone disobeys him, he just whips out a fork from his pocket and just throws it at their throat.
And he has when he like unsheathes his blade, it's like an abnormally large like kitchen knife.
It's like a butter knife. It's just got one side that's got the serrated edge.
No, because as soon as they said Cutler Beckett, I'm like, cutlery?
Yeah. What? Or Coltree, as somebody I know around here calls it. Fucking people.
Oh, we have another new, well, not really a new character because we did hear his name in the last movie, but we're actually seeing him for the first time, and that is William Bootstrap Bill Turner, played by Stellan Skarsgård. We have Kevin McNally coming back as Gibbs. We have Jonathan Pryce coming back as Governor Weatherby Swan. You never hear his name. I hate when you never hear their first name, but yet he has one. There you go, guys.
Yep.
We have David Bali as Cotton. We have Martin Kleba as Marty, who is he's a little dude who's just a badass. I love him. Yeah,
he's awesome.
Yeah. We have David Schofield as Mercer, who is the Lord Beckett's like that gruffy like guy who is just like the enforcer who's just following around people. He's a worm. That's what he is. He's a worm.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
Dude, wait, he's like the dude that follows around the Phantom in Titanic.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, his little lackey ass dude that does all his dirty work for him. Yeah. I can't believe I blank his name.
We have Mackenzie Crook back as Rigetti, the one-eyed guy.
Yep.
And we have Lee Ehrenberg as Pintel, who is his like right-hand man there. Mind blown thing that I didn't know about this guy, the guy who calls everybody who calls Elizabeth Poppet.
Yeah.
He is American.
Yeah.
Really?
I watched it. There was a video I watched on the making of all the Kraken scenes in this movie. And he was talking about the legend of the Kraken. And he just starts talking, and I was like, what? Just blew my mind.
He's got a very good British accent.
He's got a very good pirate voice.
Yeah, pirate voice.
Yes.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But it kind of was like, I was like taken aback. I was like, wait a second. Blowing my mind.
So jarring.
Thank God I'm figuring this out as an adult, because I think as a kid I probably would have cried or something. No!
I'm crying right now.
Messing my mind here. Oh man. This film was directed by Gore Verbinski. Of course, he would direct the trilogy before stepping away when the fourth one was made. Written by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, who we talked about last week. And of course, again, produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and is based on The Ride from Disneyland and Disney World. We don't have to go into that because we did all that last week.
Yes.
This film won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, mostly because it's really fucking good for 2006.
Yep.
Can you know, I can't see it any other way.
Yeah.
Like
Industrial Light and Magic was behind it, so you know, I mean, listen, we've talked about some bad ILM effects, Spawn, for example. But this movie had $225 million in their budget, so they had a lot of money they could throw into the visual effects, especially when there's a lot more visual effects in this movie than there was in the first one, because of course, all of the Flying Dutchman crew, it's all visual effects. It's just dudes wearing the suits, then they put the visual effects over them instead of doing practical, which I would have been interested to see what they could have done with visual effects or with the with practical effects on them, but I feel they did it because it gave them a little bit more freedom with especially Bill Nighy's character, you know, of Davy Jones. You know, his tentacles on his face are kind of doing their own thing, which I feel probably would have been kind of hard to do with practical. I've seen it done before, but I think it was just more of just the ease of things, and they had a lot of money to use. So, and it looks damn good. Like, this is good visual effects. The Kraken looks great. Like, everything that they used visual wise, it looks on point. I thought it was funny. Keira Knightley didn't know there was going to be sequels to this movie, and so she did a movie the year before this came out called Domino, and she cut her own hair, so her hair was really short. So she had to wear hair extensions in this movie because she literally came in for them to get her back into this role, and they're like, oh, we got nothing to work with here, because you can see there's actually videos of her training, doing sword training and just stuff to prep for the movie, and she literally has, I think I have longer hair than her at that point. So yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, at least this wasn't done by Disney during the MCU thing, because they would just CG the rest of her hair in.
Oh no. No,
that was DC that did that. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
DC
with the mustache.
Yeah, it would be like the Henry Cavill mustache. I'm getting my people mixed up. Look at that.
Hey
It's so
guys,
funny.
I
Good
can't even.
job.
I have a mustache, so I couldn't even pretend to do how goofy he. He just looked like he was tucking his lip into his Pete. I'm Superman.
Just leave him with the fucking mustache. I would
I
have
would
lived
have
with
loved a
mustache
mustache.
ride Superman.
Oh,
Hey Lois, who was the mustache ride?
there's a scene in that movie where they like are fooling around in that tub, and I'm just like, I just the line should have been, "You ready for that mustache ride, Lois?"
Yes. Fuck yes.
My apologies for if anyone hears the ice in my glass.
Oh, I hear the ice. I
Yeah.
think it's
Mm.
atmospheric.
Hey, I have a metal straw in a can. I have it pinned to the side so you cannot hear it because it's loud.
Right, the
I have a-
ambiance. It's like a movie plot breakdown plus ASMR. You're getting the whole package here, everybody.
Just wait till the heavy breathing comes in later, guys.
Oh yes.
Quick, grab the lube.
Oh my god.
Like-
This was the highest grossing film of 2006, and it was the fastest film to hit $1 billion. It took 63 days. At that time, it was the fastest to make it there. It's Johnny Depp, of course, back as Jack Sparrow, and his performance. I mean, to be honest,
All right.
these first three movies were the pinnacle Depp when it comes to Jack Sparrow. When we get to the fourth and fifth film, you start to see a huge change in the way that he performs the character, especially in the fifth one. But we won't go too deep into that now.
Hey, good thing I hadn't seen this yet.
Honestly, I thought some of his quirks were kind of diminished, even noticeably, between the first and second film.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, mostly. I mean, it could have just been the year it took. I mean, it was what, a 4-year difference between or 3-year difference between the first two,
Mhm.
and he now has the Black Pearl, so maybe he had to change the way he acts. I don't know. I didn't feel that, but I mean, I get it. Maybe they just didn't give him enough quirky stuff to do.
Maybe he wanted to play a little straighter.
Yeah,
because the tone of the film.
Yeah,
realistically. So,
yeah. All right, well, let's go around and talk about our thoughts on this movie. Let's start with Angela.
yes, bus first.
Don't
They have
put me under
cars
the
back
bus.
then. They didn't have buses. Or show you in front of the ship.
That'd be painful.
Just push it out of the way.
Yes, push a huge ship out of the way. Sure. You guys will probably boo me for this, but I actually like this one better than the first one.
I actually don't. I don't hate that opinion.
I do, but I'm going to be quiet about it. No, it's fine. I don't care.
I have always been obsessed with pirates and the Kraken and portraying people as creatures, like fantasy creatures, like they do in this.
Yeah.
I adore it. Like, I love Johnny Depp aside, it's typical Jack Sparrow, but I love Bill Nighy, love Davy Jones. I love it. Like, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with it.
So,
I love the introduction of, Bootstrap Bill. I thought they did his character well.
What about the man in the wall?
That was really cool.
Wyvern?
Yep.
That was. But see, I like stuff like that. It's been like not a secret obsession. I just don't talk about it much because people are like, "Ew, you're weird."
Let's just watch.
So I just kind of keep that one to myself. But yeah, like, that's always been like an obsession.
So let's just talk about One Piece. We'll get Sean on here for Movie Dumpster. Cover all 1,000 plus episodes. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
3 years later, and you're still talking about it.
Like, I feel so old now.
So
so much
eventually
One Piece.
All
I see is little man with straw hat.
Stretch Gumu Gumu. No, never mind. Dude, listen. I'm gonna tell you this. It's still going, and I remember reading that manga when I was like 16 years old or 17 years old. It's still going.
When we got together, and you and your brother were like you were so far into it already.
Pirates, bro. It's dope as fuck.
But then
Pirates are
part
awesome.
of the cards.
I tried to start watching it like right where they were at,
I don't remember that.
and I'm like, you were like 100 episodes in or something. At
She's
this
probably
point.
still
I was
wearing the
like,
fucking Grand Line. Anyway, sorry.
I'm like, what is
I'm
this?
diverting this conversation.
It's pirates.
It's relevant.
Only a little
There's
bit.
fish people in that too.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, that's my take.
merfolk. Sorry. You gotta say it right. Anyway,
right.
I enjoyed this movie. I think I pretty much at most of what she said, I agree with. You know, Davy Jones is, and what you said too, Parker. Davy Jones is a great villain. I like how he was. It's. I mean, sorry guys, I'll bump a little bit into the next one, but he's a two-part villain. Like I think he's just too good to just be like a one-off. And like, what are you gonna do? Have a villain for this, have a separate villain for that, and a separate villain for the third one? Like, come on. Well, you know, other stuff happens, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyhow, like I like the handling of Bootstrap being brought in, which helps Orlando's character, and then you know Jack still doing his thing, and it's just even the way it starts. It does not start the way you would expect, which we'll talk about shortly, and it's just a fun movie. I know we didn't talk about her much, but Naomi Harris.
Oh yes, I did not mention her.
Yep.
I would have.
There's so many people to keep track of. Her portrayal's cool, even though it's not big. Like I love the way she does the character. The settings are great. It's a fun movie. I still think I like the original a little bit more, just for pacing, and I think maybe just nostalgia. Even though this is the one that I've seen in theaters, as opposed to the first one, but I think they're both paced well. I don't feel either movie drags. You put them in and you watch them, and they're good. They just go, and you don't, they're enjoyable movies. But it's just something about the first one I just really like, and it would have been a great self-contained story, and I don't mind that they did more because we wouldn't have got this character. But it's a great movie. I think the effects look good. It may be a little bit more noticeable, like the Kraken and stuff during the daytime, but I thought all of the fish people and stuff were good. There are some good practical effects, some surprising amount of gore and interesting kills they managed to get away with in a PG-13 film. With the dude that got pulled out of the cannon hole.
That was
I completely
it wasn't
forgot
even
about
just that. It was the fact that the two guys are standing next to the hole, just they know what's happening and they're just like, oh my god, oh my god.
You just see the feet and you hear it. You're like,
yeah,
oh
like,
dude,
oh
so
no, he's gone.
that and the prisoner in the cell with the eyeball in the cage with the eyeball, the ravens.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, they got away with that, dude. It's just
Yeah.
there's some really good atmospheric shots and there's some really good set pieces, and even when they do practical, there's not like, but just like the some of the gore, like I said, and the makeup and stuff and the costumes and stuff is all really great, like it was before. And
then
it's
you
good
have
movie.
Ridley over there, like, this isn't real. This didn't happen.
This
isn't real.
This is fiction,
This
right?
is-
Like
yeah.
this is fiction.
Like he had to
But it's good.
tell himself that.
I thought the other new villain for the East India Trading Company doesn't really do a whole lot in this movie, and like you said, his performance is kind of a little sleepy. But other than that, I mean, but he doesn't really do a lot. He's just like, I'm supposed to be the dignified.
He plays a way bigger part in the third one.
Yeah, he's like, I'm supposed to be the dignified asshole of this and be all pompous and things, and not emote.
Yeah, like he's the villain, but he's the villain in the background. Where Davy Jones is the villain of this movie, because it's mostly Davy Jones versus Jack, and everyone is just there.
Yeah,
like they're just part of the repercussions of Jack's actions.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's good. The music's really good as it's been in these other movies. But yeah, that's it. I can't say anything else. It's a great movie. So
yeah, I mean, I remember seeing like lists of like all the Pirates movies ranked, and this one was always close to the bottom for some reason, and I always was baffled at that. And rewatching it today, like I love the introduction of Davy Jones, of course. I love that character so much. I think he's just awesome. I wish they could flesh him out more. I wish he didn't like the way that he ends. I liked it, but I didn't, but we'll talk about that more next week. I thought there were some parts that kind of dragged out. I think the Cannibal Island was a little bit too drawn out. I think it just took way too long to get through that. There was way too much. There was like all of Jack's like interactions with the natives was just like too much. Like I understand there's like he is like he brings some comedic elements to his performance, but I feel there's just some moments where it's just like it wasn't funny. And that scene in particular where he's like interacting with them and then him trying to escape and the whole thing of them swinging in the bone cages, that took way too long. Like everything that
Yeah.
happens on this island took way too long to happen. I wish it was just Jack got captured on this island, they come, they rescue him, they get out. But instead there's just so much extra shit that I feel like just didn't need to happen.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that.
I do like the introduction of Beckett. I think he eventually becomes a good villain, but in this movie, he's just like, especially the actor. There's just some scenes where they show him, and he's just like, I'm like, does he know that the camera's going? Like, hey, buddy, there's a scene here.
Did you not hear
Wake up.
the little clack?
Wake up.
Oh,
I know you heard it.
one other thing I want to mention is a character I thought was much better in this movie than the last one is Norrington.
Yes.
Got way better.
Well, I mean, I think the reason Norrington is who he is in the first one is because he is a high-ranking officer. He has to be that way to kind of show his power. But you're seeing now a more vulnerable Norrington who is at his worst now. He's at the bottom. He's hit rock
desperate.
bottom.
It's
there's times where he is literally covered in fucking shit. Like there are scenes where he's got just dried shit in his hair, but he still comes off very like proper when he talks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that never goes away, and he's still in love with Elizabeth. Good for him. He never loses the love. But I mean, this is still a really fun. I love this franchise. It's not even just the original three. I just have fun with all of them. I think the practical effects are always great to see, like them actually being on these huge ass pirate ships, and the way that they were able to, like, the jungle scenes are like they're actually filming in the jungle. Like there is actually scenes like the scene when the bone cage drops into the water. They actually had to swim to that location to film. Like there was no other way of getting to that location to film that shot. So they literally had to swim down these channels on one of the islands that I don't remember which island they filmed on for this, but they filmed on Palos Verdes, St. Vincent, which they did on the last one, and the Grenadines, the Dominica, and the Bahamas. So they made sure to keep it as authentic as possible. But yeah, this is still
whole area though was beautiful.
Oh yeah,
like when they looked up to see if they were still chasing them.
Yep,
that was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
That was very cool. I'm glad to hear. I mean, it looked like it was filmed on location. I'm glad to know that it actually was.
Yeah.
This movie looked visually better than the first one, like, and not just a little bit, drastically. Like this looked like the first one looked like a theme park ride. Like it looked like it was a theme park ride. With this one looks like like we're in this world. Like
I see what you're saying.
The colors, the shots, the environments, everything just looked way better in this one. I do like the first one slightly better, but I think Davy Jones just him being in this movie just almost gets him. And those Kraken scenes and that music, the Kraken, it's literally the song that plays when the Kraken attacks is called Kraken. And that song, the organ, it gives me chills as it's just tearing these ships apart. Oh man, God, it's so good. The music was done by Hans Zimmer in this one, and he would do the third one as well. He would take over from the last composer, but I said that they worked together on a lot of other stuff, so he just took what had already been given, and just gave us more. Like that Kraken song alone is just like so good. Oh man,
can't disagree, man. Can't disagree.
But yeah, this movie's great. Let's hop into this plot. So this movie opens up to a very wet wedding.
Hey, pirate top.
We
have to bring pirates into it.
Yeah, who doesn't love?
Who doesn't
love pirates?
Yar har fiddly dee.
Oh,
being a pirate is all right with me. Do what you want, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you know what that's from?
No.
Lazy Town. Never watched the show. 4chan, thank you very much.
The only thing I know about Lazy Town is the villain of that show, and there's a song that they remixed from that show, and it's so
We
good.
Are Number One.
We Are Number One. So good.
So good, dude.
But but it's sad. The guy who played that dude, I don't remember what his character's name was, but he passed away.
It escapes me. Somebody on the internet will tell us.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
So this movie opens up to a wet wedding ruined because Will and Elizabeth get arrested. But you get like
good kind of wet wedding.
Yeah, you get the no, it wasn't the one that after you actually get married. That wet wedding.
Yeah, not the wedding night.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, like macaroni and cheese.
But I like the shot. I like how they show her. She's upset. She's like sitting in the rain, and you see Will getting taken out in handcuffs, and you figure out that they get arrested for the actions of the end of the first movie for letting Jack escape.
Consequences.
Yeah, finally caught up with you.
Yep, a lot of that.
Couldn't have waited until after the wedding.
Yep, and that's when we meet Lord Beckett. He sounds like he literally has the same tone of voice the entire movie. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't it's one tone the entire time. But he's our new villain. And he is just like, naughty, naughty. You're gonna, meet the hangman's noose. So we then see Gibbs. He's on the Black Pearl, and he's drunkenly singing about a dead man's chest. I was like, I said the title of the movie in the movie.
I'll drop.
It's not the last time they say dead man's chest either.
Nope.
We then go to this creepy ass island. It's a prison island, I'm guessing, and there is literally crows munching on dudes' eyeballs inside of cages. Yeah. It's a rough place. They're just tossing dead bodies into the ocean in coffins, by the way. Like, okay,
fuck them. Just throw them in the water. Like, right? Fuck them. No box, just in the water.
The sharks are gonna get them anyways.
Get down here and chum some of this shit.
Oh god. So I love it though when they throw the coffin into the water and you just see the coffin floating, and then the crow lands on it, and then it just gets blasted.
And it's just like,
and Jack gets out. He puts on all of his stuff, and then I love it. He's trying to find somehow to row this coffin, and he just snaps the leg off of the body. Hey, thanks, guy. Starts rowing away.
You don't need this.
Oh, so funny. He gets back to the Black Pearl, and they're just like, where the hell is the treasure that you said that was there? And he's like, oh, I got something even better, and just takes out a picture of a key, and they're just like, that's better? What? Yeah. He's like, oh, wait. You don't know what this opens. And like, it's just a picture of a key.
Yeah.
And then the monkey steals the picture and he shoots it. The monkey is undead in this, and I questioned why, and then I figured out that there was a post-credit scene at the end of the first one.
Oh, well, we missed that.
We missed that.
So the monkey steals one of the gold pieces, which keeps him undead. That's why the monkey is the only one who is still undead. I literally, when we get to the scene where Jack gives, what's her name? Is it Tia?
Tia.
Yeah, gives her the monkey. He's like, undead monkey, and shoots it. And I'm just sitting there like, why is it still undead?
That's what I thought.
And I looked it up, and I guess there was a post-credit scene at the end of the original, or the end of the first one. And I was like, okay, well, good to know.
Admittedly, that wasn't the style at the time.
No, but there is a post-credit scene in this one too.
Well, I didn't know that either.
But we'll talk about that at the end.
Weird, because
we just let it go.
I let it play. You had walked away, and I'd let it play.
That's because the cat was outside.
Oh, the first one. I let it go because I liked listening to the music, and the credits just stopped.
Oh,
there was on Disney Plus.
It literally takes. I think the post-credit scene is like a 5-second clip. And I watch them on Disney Plus. I have them, I have the DVDs, but like Disney Plus has them in 4K, so I'm like, I have Disney Plus, I might as well watch it there. But I have it just in case.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, he's not winning over the crew with all this shenanigans here. They're like, dude, you got to produce something good, or you're gonna have another mutiny on your hands, and you're gonna lose this ship. So we then go back and we see Beckett. He brings in Will, and he tasks Will to get Jack back. Well, mostly he tasks him to go get his compass. And we also see that Beckett was the one who left him the pirate mark on the burn on his arm.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, cool, connections. So Jack runs into an old friend when he's getting some rum. You see that that's when he sees Bootstrap for the first time in a while. You know, he tells him about how he owes a debt to Davy Jones. And Jack kind of just brushes it off, as he probably has brushed this debt off for a while.
Yep.
So you come to find out that Davy Jones, I guess the Black Pearl sank, and Davy Jones rose it from the depths and gave Jack the ship back and said, you have 13 years he was supposed to collect souls. Like, he was supposed to help Davy Jones do his job, which is collect souls. And fun fact, the reason Davy Jones looks the way he does is because he wasn't doing his job. Fun fact, yeah. Which it was something that they mentioned in the third one, but I figured I'll mention it now. Yeah. So Davy Jones, the legend of Davy Jones is a wild one, because there's different things. So like the Flying Dutchman is not necessarily connected to Davy Jones in legends. The Flying Dutchman is actually just a legend on its own. It's just a legend of a ship that never can make port, which is something that they mention in this, how he can't make port for like 10 years. But Davy Jones, there's a bunch of different legends about Davy Jones. So first one was Davy Jones' locker, which is just it's just kind of a pirate's afterlife. Like if you go down with your ship, or if you die at sea, that's where you go. Did you have something to say, Dan?
I do. I'm sorry. When I'm watching the movie, I'm like, I'm in this. I'm taking it seriously. When you're telling me this, I'm just like seeing flashes of SpongeBob it's like the thing. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm gonna derail this for a second. Where it was the episode where SpongeBob's outside running this Squidward that the sky had a baby from a cereal box, and it was the anchor from the Flying Dutchman fell into his house, and they go in there to like let him have it, and Squidward's gonna bitch at him for it. And he's like, what was all that stuff you were saying about his ship being dirty? And then the Flying Dutchman's like, you know, calling a man's ship dirty is worse than insulting a man's ship is worse than insulting his mother. He's like, no, it was his mother you were saying was dirty. And and then Davy Jones's locker is in one of the episodes, but it's actually the singer Davy Jones.
Yes. Which when you type in Davy Jones in Google, it's the first thing that pops up is the singer Davy Jones.
Yes.
No, because as soon as Parker said Flying Dutchman, all I can see is the whole scene
was he named Davy Jones in SpongeBob?
No, he was just the Flying Dutchman, as was his ship, but he was just the Flying Dutchman because he doesn't know how to tie his shoes. He just wears a sock on his ghostly tail. Anyway, one more thing. I'm gonna see if anybody knows this reference. Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember? You guys might remember Johnny Quest from the 60s, right?
Yes.
Do you know of Johnny Quest from the 60s? There was a run of Johnny Quest from the early 2000s. And I remember, if somebody else can remember this fucking episode, there was a pirate on there. His name was Blackjack Lee. I just want to know if anybody knows this fucking episode of this show. Because it used to be on ass crack of dawn in the morning before school. And I very vividly remember that episode, but somebody else help me out.
I was watching Saved by the Bell before school.
What?
I was watching Saved by the Bell before school.
Yeah, of course you were. Anyway, carry on.
It came
derail.
7 to 7:30.
Fucking hated Saved by the Bell. I knew my fun was over when Saved by the Bell and fucking Seinfeld came on because it was after The Simpsons and shit. I know, I was just a cartoon guy. I did not watch live action shit as a kid.
No, it was time to go to bed when MASH came on.
Oh god, MASH was on after Simpsons. I was like, son of a bitch.
I mean, I watched The Simpsons. I watch The Simpsons every day, but I also watch Seinfeld every day.
See, I just didn't watch live action stuff.
Yeah.
When as I got older, I started enjoying Friends. Though I heard Seinfeld was good. I knew Frasier was good.
Frasier was good. Seinfeld was the show about nothing.
It was.
Yeah, apparently.
Even though Jerry Seinfeld later would come out and be like, no, it was a show about something.
Yeah.
It was just fair. A joke of it, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's got to have some kind of context. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, so Davy Jones' locker was just it's like an afterlife type thing. You go down, you die in at sea, and that's where you go. The Flying Dutchman had its own thing, and then Davy Jones has like a bunch of different legends where one of them was there was a guy named Davy Jones who was a pub owner in England who literally would like steal very drunk patrons and then just like throw them in his like beer cellar, and then would just give them to ships as like free labor.
Oh, okay.
Which is
People.
kind of what Davy Jones' job is in these films. His job is he is tasked with ferrying souls to the afterlife. That's what Davy Jones is supposed to do, but because he doesn't do it, he looks like a squid or an octopus.
So is that when he like, hey, come on my ship and I'll just postpone your death for 100 years, wherever? That's kind of like fucking everything up for him.
So no, well,
'Cause he's not letting him
they're
die.
immortal. Like the I know that him and his crew are pretty much immortal. Like I know like they can still be hurt, but they don't die. And the more growth that a crew member has, the higher up they are on the crew. Like the longer they've been there. So like you have some crew like Bootstrap, he's still very human like. He's got stuff growing on him, but he's still a human. But then you have a dude, like Davy Jones' right hand man is literally a hammerhead shark. Like
I love
he's so
that.
good.
And
It's
the
very
fact
cool.
that he's hunched like a shark looks,
so
I'm
good.
like, that is so cool.
So I will mention a little bit more next week because they do. Tia talks about the legend and like why he is who he is. But I figured I'd mention it now because it's good to know.
Devil fruit powers.
So yeah, Jack gets warned that he is coming for him. This is when we see some sailors picking up Jack's hat out of the water, and they're like, "Haha, look at me, I'm a pirate." I thought they were French, but I guess they're Greek. Or no, they were from Cyprus.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Which is Greek, right?
Cyprus. Howdy. Yeah. Good call, dear. I like that.
Good old Jim Varney.
I love it.
Oh, so yeah, they're messing around with that until they hear something, and that's when they're like freaking out. They're like trying to get rid of the hat, but it's too late. But this one is a quick one where you just see the ship and then it just gets eaten by the sea.
I like how you don't even see the Kraken, except for like in the water. You see like a glimpse of it, like
it's coming through. Yeah,
that's it.
It's such a cool shot. So we then go back to Will. He's looking for Jack. Finds his ship on a remote island. It is beached, and I'm like, how the fuck did they get this off the beach later? Like, did the tide come in real fast and high? And that's when it was just like
two guys.
As soon as those people were chasing him, they're like, we could get it out. Sweet. But Will is quickly captured as he is messing around, he's like following a line and stuff like that. And we then find out that Jack is like the leader, in quotations, of this tribe. But then you find he's got the eyes painted on his eyelids, and then he opens it. It's just it's very jarring at first when he does it.
I'm curious, during this whole scene, am I the only one that thought of Ace Ventura 2?
Yes, 100%. Every time I see this scene.
Yeah, you were definitely not the only one.
I was just like,
no.
Every time I just
no.
It's
like
Bumblebee tuna.
Yes.
Do not touch the new. Because he gets called White Devil. God, that movie's so good.
The hair.
God, that movie's so good.
We got to do those too.
We do need to do that.
So good.
Roads are pretty rough around here.
Yes. I do that.
You do that in the van sometimes.
And the whole thing with the damn it, where they're looking at the slideshows and he's like, ooh.
The one we always
Dog.
Thank you. I love that scene. The one we always do at work is the don't mind me, just a curious little rhino. Warm. That time, I love it, dude. Okay, so I gotta talk about it really fast. The owner of our company has I mentioned this probably before, has a dinosaur suit. Like one you actually get inside. It's like a $10,000 dinosaur suit. I shit you not. Like mechanical head is legit. I've been in it and everything. And every time I'm in it, or one of the dude has to get in it, I just think, please tell me you have a tiny fan like Ace Ventura. Like, have you birthed yourself out of the back of this dinosaur yet?
Is this raptor taking a shit yet?
I have to get
Oh
pictures
my
of it and post it
goodness.
So
online.
good. All right, well, back to this.
Yes, the movie. I forgot.
So
Made it.
Elizabeth, she got arrested earlier, so she's in jail. She gets rescued by her father, and we then get she steals the letters of marque that Beckett has. She steals them and then has him sign them, which is supposed to like give is it her like them a pardon, and like Jack is supposed to become like a privateer, which is
I'm not
literally
sure.
just a pirate who for anyone who doesn't know, a privateer is just a pirate who is controlled by the government.
It's a licensed
Yeah,
pirate.
I have a license to do this.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then it's funny if you have to look real good because like I like noticed it right at the end of the scene where she's talking to Beckett about the whole thing. Of course, she has a gun on him too, and there was a soldier standing outside of the room, like on the outside, not the door she comes in, but like on the patio or the deck outside there. I saw a dude in like the red petticoat, and then it shows it again, like it cuts to a different shot and then shoots back to that spot and he's gone. I was like, was somebody just standing there on accident? And then the next time they shot it, like, oh shit.
Damn it, Jerry.
Jerry, get out of the shot.
Yeah.
It was the best one we had, so we had to keep it.
There might have been like maybe the guy's like, there she goes, go get her. Dude, I don't get paid enough for this.
It's
I'm on
above my
lunch
pay
break.
grade.
Yeah, above the pay grade. That's it.
We also, I forgot to mention that Will visits Elizabeth before he goes off to find Jack. And there's a shot of the governor actually breaking a candle thing off of the wall, which is reminiscent to what Will does in their house in the first one.
Yes.
It's kind of like a callback.
Nice.
So we then see Pintel and Rigetti. They're back. And they have the key dog. The only reason I mentioned that last scene is because the governor was looking for him. He's like, where's that dog with the key? And that's when they find the pearl. And they're like, jackpot, gotta get this. It's ours. I don't see anybody around. Free game.
Yep.
Free real estate.
Yeah, good luck. Yes. It's free real estate.
Free real estate. So yeah, this shot here though is miniature work. The pearl's not there. Like it's like when it's like forced perspective shot. Like they shot the two guys and then they shot the miniature, made it look big. Cause like that, imagine having a giant ship like that just beached. And then they're like, how the fuck are we getting this out?
Yeah.
It's like Will Ferrell and Elf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Jack, he tries to escape. He like messes around. He distracts the tribe into doing something. He runs off and then he ends up getting caught. I love when he like finds the East Indian Trading Company shaker, and then he walks out and they're all outside the shack and he just sprinkles on the paprika.
Yep, seasoning.
And that's when we also see the rest of the crew are in these like bone cages that it's just dangling off of a cliff. You have Will, Gibbs, and like the core original crew in one, and then you have like the other part of the Black Pearl crew, which was I don't want to get this wrong, but they were from, I'm guessing, India.
I'm assuming,
yeah, in that area. But these were the guys that were giving Jack shit when he came back to the ship with no treasure earlier, and so the whole thing is like, whoever gets up to the top first, pretty much is going to be able to get free. So they have to like crawl up. They have to swing to get onto the cliff and then have to climb up the cliff. I guess Mythbusters tested this, and I guess it just couldn't happen. They would never have gotten enough momentum to actually get to reach the side of the cliff.
I'm just curious. It's like, this just seems needlessly complicated.
Yeah, this is my problem with the movie. This took way too long. Jack's whole situation takes way too long. I just wish they could have shaved. I mean, this movie was 2.5 hours. They could have shaved an extra 10-15 minutes off this thing.
Yeah, and like even just the setup, like why don't you just have them locked in cages?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be a bone cage dangling over a cliff, like needlessly complicated? Anyway, I know it's all for spectacle.
No,
That's
yeah,
all
yeah.
for- I get
It's all
it. It's
visuals.
just-
It's all like, oh, that
Yeah.
looks really cool. But so the one crew, they rush too much and they fall to their deaths. The other crew get up.
The guy grabs a snake.
Yes.
Ah.
I would say Indiana Jones moment, but Dan's never seen Indiana Jones, so the reference just wouldn't make any sense to him.
I'll just say The Lost World. That's fine.
Oh, the guy who is infatuated with dinosaurs is just like, snake! T-Rex!
Oh, even though it's like right there. But anyway,
Yeah,
never
so
mind. We've
dumb.
done this before.
So they get to the top of the cliff, and we get the line, lifted like a lady's skirt, and I went, oh boy.
Was the style at the time?
Just thought it was like Disney. They're like, it takes place in the 1700s, okay? That was normal talk back then.
Right, this wasn't the time whenever you'd get canceled for everything just yet. They're about a decade too early for that.
I just want somebody to yell woke while listening to this episode.
Please
I feel like, oh,
do.
they're talking about
That'd be
something
great.
woke.
Please.
So yeah, Jack narrowly escapes, but he should have died. He literally is tied up because he's going to get barbecued. He's going to get rotisseried, and he escapes and runs, and then he gets some fruit. Like there was one scene where he like runs into a couple ladies and then like screams at them and runs straight at them and gets a bunch of shit attached to the pole, which like weighs him
They're
down a
throwing
little bit. Yeah, they're
fruit at
throwing
him.
shit at him. Yeah, and then
Does this- Go ahead.
Well, he falls. He falls from a very tall height from the top of that cliff. But the reason he survives somehow is he crashes through all those drawbridges or the wooden bridges there, and
wooden
somehow that saves him from shattering every bone in his body.
I mean, that last one was way up there.
Oh
like
my god.
that
It's-
falling flat on your back, he would have broken something.
Oh yeah. He's dead. Absolutely dead.
Thank goodness his back broke his fall.
Yeah, right. So the first crew, they get to the ship, they get it all set up, and they're like, "Oh, where's Jack? Oh, I don't know. We got to go though." Until Will turns and sees that Jack's getting chased by the entire tribe,
Yeah.
and somehow, as soon as the tribe gets to them, the boat is able to set sail, and you're like, "Oh, well, that was convenient." And I like how the tribe is like sad. There's like people like, "No, come back," because they think he's a god.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
We
they
need
talk
to
about,
sacrifice and eat you.
yes, we need you. So yeah, they need to get the key, and he also needs Will needs the compass. So this is when we see that Elizabeth has ventured onto a ship herself. She of course changed, so she kind of blends into the crew, but her dress is just left on the deck of the ship, so they think it's a ghost.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my god. They're like going through this whole ordeal. I love it where they see him in the cabin. She attaches it to like a whole system where it's like swinging outside and it's swinging out on the deck, and then it's like pointing, and she sets like a whole thing with a fire that says Tortuga.
Yes. What's that?
Which I guess the font used for that is like the classic Disney font. I guess that's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
At least it wasn't Comic Sans. Like,
Right?
And of course, where they're like, we got to find her. There's a woman on this ship. We got to find her, and most likely she's going to be naked. And everybody's like, oh boy,
Yep.
naked lady.
naked lady on the ship. Gibbs tells the tale of the Kraken. So I guess the actual pronunciation of Kraken or of the Kraken is Kraken, but Gibbs actor, what's his name again? Kevin McNally. He pronounced it Kraken because he's the first person to actually say it in the movie. And so they were like, oh, fuck, I guess we got to go with this way. But I guess it's actually supposed to be called Kraken. I don't like it. I like Kraken.
That's
Better
the way
that
I've
way.
always said it.
That's the way I've always said it. So
That's
whatever.
what I've always said it too.
The way
Also,
I've
fun
always heard it
fact,
too.
the reference for the Kraken for this movie, because there was no actual reference point for them when they were designing it, they took it from the original Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Ah,
From the octopus.
Odaku.
Yep.
Yes.
There you go, Dan.
And, like,
Always got some Godzilla
It wants
reference.
it wants the sleepy juice, dude. So they get Kong to go to sleep. I
So,
always get that mixed up. Anyway, go ahead. Karen.
but no, they have to go visit Tia Dalma, and so they got to go upriver. and that's when Gibbs talks about the Kraken, and that it's Davy Jones' pet pretty much, and it destroys all ships with like nobody left alive. So we meet Diadalma, played by who played her again?
Naomi
Naomi
Harris.
Harris.
Naomi Harris. Why did I completely miss her? So when she was cast in this, she was, I think it was the director didn't want her because he thought she was too young. And so her mom actually had to come to the audition with her to kind of okay it, and then they just liked the way that she was actually her dialect coach. She actually taught her how to do the accent.
Oh,
Yeah, because she's actually
That's
British.
She definitely didn't look young.
no,
No,
no.
I mean she's 46 now, so that movie came out. This is 16 years old, right? Am I doing math right? 17 years old.
Sure.
So
17 years.
she was in her
Sure.
20s. Yeah. So, but yeah, I thought she did a great job with this character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she does an even better job in the third one. Yeah, we already answered the question of why the monkey is still undead, but there's also a little teaser for what you see at the end a little early, if you can figure it out. When when Jack releases the monkey goes into a room and attaches himself to a leg, and so you kind of figure out whose leg that is later on. So
Just a leg.
the key that they are looking for is to the chest of Davy Jones. It stores his heart because he was in love, and his heart was broken. He didn't want to feel the feeling of love anymore, so he cut out his own heart. And the whole thing is like if someone stabs the heart of Davy Jones, they become the captain of the Flying Dutchman, and that's what Jack wants, because Jack has a debt that he needs to pay to Davy Jones. And so his thing is, well, if I get his heart and stab it, I take control of the Flying Dutchman, and I don't have to pay that debt off. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's a
Just
lot of
make somebody else do it.
Or you can use it for negotiation fodder.
That's true. That I don't.
That may not have been his goal.
I don't think that was his. It might have been. He could have threatened Davy Jones with it. Just been like, hey, either you clear my debt, or I will kill you. So we find out that Davy Jones has the key. He holds it close to where his heart once was. This is where the black spot that is on Jack's hand. This is when they notice it, and I love the whole thing. The black spot, where they spin around a couple times, and then they spit on the floor.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
I just love Will's reaction because he has no idea of all these like weird superstitions. He's just like, what the fuck are they doing?
Gibbs is always spot on with him, dude.
Oh,
just
so
on
good.
point.
I feel like Gibbs is the one that is the rememberer of everything. Like when they need to do something, he's just like.
But I like how Jack always like undermines him with all of his knowledge. Like Gibbs has all the right knowledge, and Jack is just like, I don't think so. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong, but I'm not gonna say that.
You should probably listen to him. Yeah, listen.
You find out though that the black mark on Jack is kind of like a tracker. And like Jones pretty much knows where he is at all times. And then I love when he gets the jar of dirt, and she gives it to him, and he's like, it's a jar of dirt. She's like, well, if you don't want it, give it back. And he's like, no, it's my jar of dirt.
Yeah.
Got the jar of dirt.
Oh, the part later is so funny. So this is the whole thing is they get back onto the Black Pearl. Their whole plan is they're going to send Will to the Flying Dutchman to retrieve the key. And I love the whole thing where he's just like, well, what do I say if I get captured? He's like, I'll just say, you're paying off Jack Sparrow's debt. And then Will is just like, is that supposed to help me? Like, I'm not feeling too confident about this one. So he goes over to the ship that's it's shipwrecked. And my wife walks into the room. She's like, aren't they in the middle of the ocean? I'm like, no, not here. This is pretty close to shore, I believe. Like it's crashed on rocks. So it's not like, it wouldn't have sank. But you're at first, I think Will thinks that this is the Dutchman. He's like, "Oh, this doesn't seem too bad." And then you find like the one guy who's just like everyone who's just still alive is just like like still trying to do work on the ship. It's like your ship is destroyed, man. Like it's gone. It's done. And the dude's like, "Ah."
Like, dude, put the
Tweaking.
dick down, man. Good God.
And this is when you meet the Dutchman. You see it. Do you see it rise out of the ocean in this part?
Yeah.
It comes. Yeah. Oh, such a cool.
Yeah.
I love the design of the Flying Dutchman, the whole
Yeah.
the front of it, and just how it's like covered in. It's like covered in just algae and just all of
Yes.
anything that grows in the ocean. It's what's covered
Yeah.
in the ship. And you see all the crewmen. They like literally morph out of the shipwrecked ship. And then Davy Jones's entrance is a little bit better than Barbossa's in the first one, but
Yeah.
not that much better. It's still kind of
Yeah.
not as dramatic. I wish it was just for some reason the fourth one just still has the best entrance of a villain of any of the Pirates movies.
Now we have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
I won't spoil it, but it's a great one. But yeah, we meet the crew of the Dutchman and Davy Jones, and Davy Jones is just so cool. And
Fuck yeah.
Bill Nighy's voice is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So Bill Nighy is not Scottish, I believe. I believe he is
He
English,
is-
but he decided to do the Scottish accent
Yeah.
for. Yeah, he's from Liverpool, but he's
Yeah.
decided to do a Scottish accent for Davy Jones. Initially, Gore Verbinski wanted him to be Dutch because he is the captain of the Flying Dutchman, but he was like, "I'm not doing that. I will be Scottish." And they're like, "Sure, go with it."
Do what you got to do, man.
And it's so good.
You do you.
I think what's so good about his performance is not just his line deliveries, but it's his little mannerisms. Like anytime you see his face, he's got like weird twitches on his, like when he's
Yes.
talking, and like when he gets angry, like corners of his mouth are
A
moving in
little-
weird
yes.
ways.
And like
it's
his
so cool.
his little the little part that goes down in the middle of his lip,
Yeah.
it just
And he's like spitting water all the time, and
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
cool. Like his tentacles on his face are constantly doing things, and one arm is like a crab claw, and the other one is fingers, normal fingers, but he also has tentacles that are attached to him.
Yep.
yes.
You know, and I guess according to I didn't know this because you never really see his legs, but I guess one of his legs is like supposed to be solid whalebone, like it's a peg leg made out of whalebone.
You see it when he's coming up.
Yeah.
You see
but
the shot from
can't-
his leg when he's coming up, or when he's during his introduction, but that's it.
doesn't show.
That's pretty cool, though. I had
just-
no idea.
And of course, when you look, because his face is an octopus, it's got the octopus tentacles. When you look at the back, it's got the actual back part of an octopus.
Yep.
Designs are great. Tim
Yes.
Burton actually helped with some of the design work on the crew members of the
Okay.
Flying Dutchman. So he had a little bit of a hand in this movie.
That works. That falls into his arena.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Jones tells Jack he needs to collect 99 souls because he's going to keep Will. So that's one, because he's supposed to get 100. But since he's going to keep Will, he needs to get 99 souls to pay off his debt in 3 days. So Jones keeps Will, and then it's time to gather some souls from Tortuga, which is like, oh man, that sucks for all those drunkards. They're going to get
Yep.
fucked over. But
Yep.
I guess, I mean, that's kind of like the easiest way of going about it, I guess.
Damn it! All I can think of is it took 3 days to make that potato salad.
3 days.
Sorry.
Thank
Is
you.
it-
More SpongeBob references.
Why does it take 3 days to make a potato salad?
That's what I was wondering.
Doesn't take me 3 days to make potato
That's
salad.
a
but,
potato
you know.
salad. That's a pretty quick process.
Mhm.
So some of the shots from Tortuga are actually just reused shots from the first one. They had extra
Are they?
shots, and they just said, "Why don't we just do that instead of shooting new ones?" Doesn't make any sense.
It works.
So Elizabeth directs her crew to Tortuga. We already talked about that scene where she like puts it out in fire. Jack and Gibbs, they collect souls, but it's crew for the ship. They run into Norrington, who's looking a little less not looking
He's
so
looking a
good.
little rough.
Yeah. And he tells his sad tale. He was actually, so the reason he is in the predicament he is in is because he was chasing Jack, and Jack escaped, causing, and I'm guessing he crashed his ship or something,
Yeah.
or he got away, and
Seems so.
he, instead of going back, he decided to just leave his post in shame, and then I guess he just goes to rock bottom.
Yep.
Does he not have money? Do you not make money from being a Commodore? So he joins the crew, and we almost, what the fuck does that say? Oh no, so I did write what happened. So he almost had Jack, but a hurricane happened, and
Yes.
I guess he tried to go through the hurricane, and it fucked his ship up. And even Gibbs is like, "You tried to go through it?"
Yeah, exactly. He's a madman, dude. He's determined. When he wants, he's very determined to get what he wants.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of people in this show, it seems. They've got goals, determinations.
And then there's a
One Piece.
big brawl inside the tavern there, and I love that while everything is happening, Jack is trying to find a new hat.
Yes.
I just love where he's got a hat on, and the guys are like carrying this one dude, and he puts the hat on the guy, and then he's like, "Proceed," and then they just throw him off the. Oh, so funny. We then get to the next shot back on the Flying Dutchman, where Davy Jones is playing his organ really aggressively.
With his face.
But he's also playing with his claw. Yeah. So it's a really cool shot where, in reality, when they do this, it is another guy, an actual guy who could play the organ, playing the top part where the tentacles are playing, and then they just had Bill Nye playing the bottom part where his actual hand and claws are. We then see that they're like, all the crew of the Dutchman are out there working on the deck, and they're like trying to bring up a cannon, and I'm like, what are we doing here? What is going on?
Hey, you gotta work. Apparently,
that's literally what the crew, the Flying Dutchman, they don't get downtime except for when they're playing that game.
Yeah,
they're working or playing that game where they're wagering time.
Yep.
And I guess the guy's like, "Turner, get up and secure the line," or whatever, and they, Will and his dad go up there at the same time. They both run at each other, and then Bill notices Will, and he's like, and he lets go of the line, crashes down, but then Will gets blamed for it, and he's going to get some lashes. But Bill comes in, he's like, "No, you're not going to do that." And what does he do? The dumbass tells Davy Jones the reason why is because Will is his son, and he's like, "Well, now you're going to do it." I love that he literally is like, "Well, you're going to give him the lashes because you told me that little bit of information now, so I got that on you." Yep.
Such a dick.
So he does it, and of course they talk a little bit. They talk later, right after it's done, and it's the whole thing where it's just like, if it was the other guy, it would have been way worse. He's like, "Oh, is that some sort of so was that you showing compassion?" He's like, "Yeah, pretty much." So Will tells him that he is looking for the key, and that's when Wyvern, the guy in the wall? Yeah, he comes out and talks about the key that Davy Jones has and where it is. And
pulls his head out and you see his brain.
Yeah, his brain is still attached to the wall. Yeah.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah. And this is where we hear Dead Man's Chest again. Like I said, it's mentioned a bunch of times in this movie. And yeah, so we see it. Wyvern tells him and then gets sucked back into the wall. Elizabeth finds Jack in Tortuga. I love it where Elizabeth, I was like, how does he not recognize her voice, for one? Two, how, listen, I understand people can have, men can have those type of can have a more feminine voice and so on and so forth, but you are noticing this is a woman. I'm sorry. You're going to know who this is.
Yeah. No offense. She's done a great job of
not looking at her. But
it's nothing like the first time where she actually dropped her voice and tried to sound like a man. She's talking normal. Hello, where have you been?
So I love it though when she's like, Jack, and he's like, "Oh yeah, laddie, you are here to join my crew. Welcome aboard." And he's like, "Oh, I'm here to find my true love." And he's like,
"The man I love."
The man that I love. And he's just like, "Oh, well, my first love is the sea." And then he's like, waves like, "Get out of here." Then he notices it's Elizabeth. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
he then Jack gets an idea. He's like, oh well, if the compass isn't going to work for me, what about her? And so he tries to persuade her to want to get the chest instead of Will, so that the compass actually works.
Yep.
And of course, that's how they get their heading. We then go back to Beckett, who has Governor Swan all chained up. I love earlier in the movie. I love the whole thing of the whole powdered wig thing, where he's like, "What do you think? I just wear this for fun?"
Yeah, right.
But he's not wearing it now. It's just very off-putting. And pretty much Beckett is like, you're going to work for me. You're going to literally give me all the power that you have over the king, over the government, over everything. That's what you're going to do for me. Anything I need, you're going to get it done. And if you do that, I'll get your daughter back. So then we go back to the Flying Dutchman, where Will challenges Jones to a wager game, which is called Liar Game. Pretty much the whole point of this game is you roll dice. It's like Yahtzee, but instead of knowing what you have underneath, you guess. And as each player has to progressively wager higher amounts. So I never understood, for the years and years I watched this movie, I never could understand how this game worked. So pretty much the whole point is like everyone shakes, puts the dice on the table, and you literally have to guess. So when he guessed like 4 4s, that's how many he thinks is under his cup. And then the next player, I guess, has to guess how many is in 2 of the cups. But you're pretty much guessing how many of something is in all 3 cups. So that's when they like get to Will, and he guessed I think he says 6 5s or something, which Bill knows is wrong. And of course, I guess at a certain point you can look at your dice. Jones knows he lost, but that's why Bill he says 12 5s, which he knows is full of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they can look after everybody has bet.
Yeah,
one
that's
time.
what I'm guessing. But I just love when Bill guesses his final guess, and Jones is just like, "Bootstrap Bill Turner, you're a liar, and you're gonna spend the rest of your life on." I was like, God, Davy Jones is so cool.
Such a badass, dude. Such a badass.
Such good.
So yeah, and then of course he's just like, why would you do that? He's like, I'm already here. Like, I just don't want you to be on the ship. And pretty much because Will didn't lose, he is free to go. I guess that was the whole thing. Yeah. And so we then get the scene where Will steals the key. I love the whole thing where he's got to maneuver around the tentacles.
Yep.
And the fact that he slams, one of the tentacles slams on the piano, and he Jones slightly wakes up. So the tune that he plays on the organ is the same tune that plays on his little locket.
Yeah.
You hear?
Yeah.
And you actually see the same locket in Tia Dalma's hut. Which, fun fact, I guess the hut that she lives in is the same hut that is used on the Jungle Cruise ride I think at Disneyland. Well, it's not used. It's just the design of it is the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which at some point we're going to talk about the Jungle Cruise movie, because the Jungle Cruise movie is just another Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Yep.
Just more modern.
We ain't making it to Japan. Let's just go to Florida.
Okay, let's do it.
Listen, I went to Disney last year. It was a lot of fun. It's just fucking expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
I've been there once, and I was like 7.
Never been there.
Yeah, I went last year, and then the only other time I had gone before that was I was 8.
Well, my grandmother took me and my brothers and sister, and she worked for Home Interiors and got tickets. That was the only time. And I remember I got a plaid Mickey Mouse hat, and Mom took us to a fair by our house, and she sat on it to keep it from flying out of the ride that we were riding on, and it flew out.
Oh, no.
I was mad.
I imagine so.
She lost my hat. But I shouldn't have taken it on the ride. It was my fault. But, yeah, I missed that hat. I still remember what it looked like. It was green and red. It had Mickey Mouse on the...
I'll probably find one on eBay.
It hurts so much. It hurts so much. So, yeah, Will promises his dad that he will come back for him once I guess they get the heart or whatever. And we then go back to Elizabeth showing Jack that she has the papers that she took from Beckett, kind of
Mhm.
showing him what Beckett is his whole plan is. And Jack literally is just like, ew, ew, ew.
Yeah.
He sees the paper that says privateer. He's like, ooh, gross. And Norrington is questioning her motives because you're getting this. This was a thing probably the thing I didn't like the most from this movie was the whole Elizabeth falling for Jack.
Yeah,
I
I
was
thought
like,
that was kind of dumb.
in what way is this happening? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Especially like when they're drinking together
Yeah, on
and
the stairs there. Yeah.
he's like this to her, and
I
I'm
was
like,
ugh. No offense, Jack.
I'm pushing him away for you at this point.
It's just it was just one of those things. It just kind of made no sense because that's what Norrington questions. Like he's kind of questioning her motives. Like, are you
Yep.
really wanting Will? Like, what's your intention here? Because she even says, or he even says to her, "Is like I would kill to have you look at me like that when we were together."
Wouldn't look at you like that either. Not with the hair. Without the hair, maybe. With the hair,
At least he looks cleaner than he did when before he got on the ship. I like how that one scene he's like throwing up like 10
Yeah.
times, but he's having a conversation because the whole thing about Davy Jones or like questioning is like Davy, the captain of the Flying Dutchman, like it's just a legend. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Which that scene bothers me because I hate hearing and seeing people throw up. And I'm like, it's just water. It's just water. It's not. He's not really throwing up. Like,
so
at least he was not making the sound, the dry heave sound that some of them make. Like,
so this is when Will makes it onto that ship that Elizabeth was on before, and
Yes.
he notices the dress. You know, the whole thing where they thought, we thought it was a ghost, but that's just silly. I like they're all trying to play it out like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just ridiculous. Until
we weren't scared.
Davy Jones releases the Kraken. And I love the whole process where it's the guys who have to they turn the wheel and then you got this big lever that goes up and then when it slams down it sends like the reverb down there.
And does not break the ship in half.
I mean, it's a ghost ship technically, so I'm guessing that's the reason why.
I was like, that's a pretty big reverb that goes down through that.
Yeah. But this is when you get to see the Kraken do its thing, nice and slow. The tentacles just attacking and wrapping itself around the ship, knocking down the mast. You see that Will, for some reason, is all the way on the top of this mast, and he's just jumping from one mast to the next. Yep.
Or not the poop deck. He's in the crow's nest.
Crow's nest. Yep. And yeah, he gets to see the carnage that happens. I like how the captain is the first one who gets yoinked off the ship.
Yep. Yep.
I just love the detail of all of it, though.
It's so good.
Like the one tentacle that's different from the others that doesn't have like the
suctions.
The suction cups on it, and it's just like it looks like it's almost like something different. Like squids that have the two different tentacles.
Yeah, because they have tentacles.
Off.
Well, their tentacles, they have 6 tentacles and then 2 arms.
But yeah,
they're classified as a different organism because they have more of it's almost like a paddle on the end.
Because that's what the one looks like that comes way far out.
But see, that's the thing is they're not though, because if you look at all of the legs, and he even mentions it being based on Odaku, it's based on at that point it's based on a giant Pacific octopus. It's not even a squid. It's an octopus.
But
it's hard to tell what it is though when Will falls into the water during this attack scene. You can he sees the Kraken under the water, like you can see the body, but it's still hard to tell whether it's a squid or an octopus.
Yeah, but if you go by the limbs, it's an octopus.
Oh, 100%.
It does not have.
I'm just saying that the one that comes way far out that has nothing on it.
Yeah, it's more like blunt.
But you don't. It could be turned away, but it looks like the paddle of a squid. Like it looks.
Yeah, because I'll have to watch it again.
It's a bulbous end.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it because it didn't look like I've seen the big ones that come up and crash down, but none of them really looked different, like shaped to me. They just looked larger, like a larger. But it made me think of it came from beneath the sea, which was Willis O'Brien or Ray Harris. Awesome stop motion about a giant octopus that attacks San Francisco. Good stuff. Yeah.
I just love the design of it. Like, I wish you would see more of it underwater when he goes underneath, but
Yeah.
I get why you
I
don't.
like it being in the shadows.
I
Where
just
you don't get that
I
clear
just
look.
love, because it goes down further than what you can see.
The Kraken is such a cool legend too. So yeah, so Will then gets back onto the Dutchman. He hides out in the front of it. But then you never really find out how he gets off it to the other ship, because there's a part where Davy Jones tells them to go under, and I was like, isn't Will still on the front of that thing? This has got to hold his breath real, and you're going deep at a fast rate. That's gonna cause some bubbling in the brain, and you're dead.
No, Titanic. Start swimming up.
Yep.
As soon as it hits, swim up.
So yes, we got to go get so Davy Jones tells them we got to go to the island where the chest is, because clearly people are going after it, because he finds out that Will took the key. That's the whole reason why he sends the Kraken after them. So they reach the island after Jack's black mark returns. They find the chest, even when the compass is starting to like send Elizabeth into like different direction, like she's walking back and forth, and then she notices that the compass is pointing at Jack. She's like, no. And I was like, thank God, no, we don't want this.
We don't need that story angle.
Nope.
And yeah, this is when Jack figures out the spot. Norrington digs it up. As soon as they find the chest, Will shows up with the key, opens it up, and that's when they notice the heart inside, and Will's immediately going to stab the heart, but then Jack's like, no. That's not how this is going to work. So we then get the longest sword fight ever.
Yep.
Which even Elizabeth is like, this is ridiculous, because she's trying to distract them to stop. Like, stop this. And it goes on for so long.
Everybody has a stake in it. Norrington, Jack, Will, everybody. Fucking everybody. The two grunts just wanted to sell for money.
It's so funny. I just love the whole exposition dump that the one guy says. He's like, "Hey, why are they all fighting?" And he's like, "Well,
yeah, he just knows.
Norrington wants to restore his pride and his position. Jack wants it as a leverage for Davy Jones, and and Will wants it to free his father from a lifelong servitude."
Yeah,
like how
twice cursed father.
Yeah, how did you find this out? He's like the one character in all those movies that is here's all the gossip.
Yeah.
Like overhears the gossip.
Just never forgets it.
And he's just like, this is what I heard.
Yeah, and just knows everything.
Yeah,
like, I know this shit.
So yeah, then they literally are sword fighting all the way into this island. They get to this little old abandoned town that's run down, and they then are fighting on the roof of this place, and then they get onto a water wheel, which then breaks off, and then it starts to go, and they're fighting while on that. Jack gets knocked off of it because he gets hit in the head with a pipe.
Yep.
That wheel rolls for a long time.
That's what I said. We were watching. I was like, they're still on the fucking wheel?
Yeah, it's so long. It's all practical too. It's just really cool.
Good for them.
So yeah, Liz and the two other guys, they were gonna fight each other, but then they group up to fight Davy Jones' crew. So the whole thing is that Davy Jones can't step on land for it's like one day every 10 years, but his crew can, I guess, anytime.
Yeah. I figured it bound all of them, but apparently it's just him. So
yeah,
like the hermit crab guy.
Yes, he's the best. We've talked about him on other episodes, which is hilarious.
He just gets his head knocked off.
Yeah, because there was, I think we've done a couple movies where there was a character who gets his head knocked off, and you're trying to like communicate with the head, with the body to come get him.
Like,
I can't remember.
He's like to your right.
Yeah,
and the body just hits a tree. That is a tree.
Yeah,
I just like how Jack's just like, stop, shut up. Yeah, because Jack is the one who knocks his head off with the coconut. He like falls off.
He just throws it, fucking beans him.
It was a drive-by fruit.
Yes, thank you.
Oh god.
Oh jeez.
And Jack opens up the chest, takes the heart, stuffs it in his shirt, and runs off. Will and Norrington, they take a fun ride all the way down to the beach, and I love it when they finally crash down and they get out and they're all dizzy, like trying to fight each other, but they just keep falling.
Well, yeah, you notice it affects Will more than fucking Norrington. Norrington
Yeah.
seems to bounce back pretty quick
Yeah,
from it.
Norrington immediately like runs over to the little dinghy there and steals the papers, notices that Jack had put the heart inside the jar of dirt.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I got a jar.
And so he takes the heart as well. And
Yeah, it's pretty
because
obvious.
Jack was too busy fighting somebody off with an oar and Will was knocked out.
Yeah.
So,
It's
but then
useless
he plays it off like he's gonna try to distract them, distract the Davy Jones crew. So he runs off with the chest. He ends up dropping the chest and just running off. And this is when the body drops the head and picks up the chest, and the body's just like, or the head's just like, hey, come back.
Yep.
God damn it. And then he literally turns into a hermit crab
Yeah,
and just crawls
he
away.
goes,
And I was like, whoa.
Why'd you do that in the first
he
place?
goes,
I know,
"Ugh,
right?
pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're not one?"
I forgot to mention when Jack and Davy Jones first talk to each other, the whole thing where Jack is like spying on the Flying Dutchman while Davy Jones is talking to Will and he's looking through his viewfinder there. And then
Oh,
when
yeah.
he sees Davy Jones and Davy Jones turns and sees him, and then as soon as he puts it down, he's right in his face. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. That's the good stuff. Yeah.
But they meet again. He catches up with Jack and the Pearl, and this is when he calls. He's like, "Hey, fish face!
Yeah.
I got a
Yes.
jar there. I got a jar
Yes.
there."
I love it.
All improvised, by the way, by Johnny Depp.
Nice.
So good.
Nice.
Some
Well played.
most times those are the best lines.
So
Yep.
funny. So Jones then attacks the Pearl, of course, with his really cool cannons, but then he gets to use his cool triple guns that are on
Yep.
the front of the ship. I'm like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is so sick.
They're not normally on the front. I was
That's
confused.
so crazy. He's like, I'm a fucking immortal ghost. I got
Yeah.
fucking cannons for
The
days,
guns.
bro.
I thought they were going to come from the mouth part when I first watched
that would
it.
have been
Yeah,
cool.
that
That would
would've
have been
been
cool.
cool.
But nonetheless, these guns are sick.
Yes.
Jones releases the Kraken on the Pearl, and we get another awesome scene, of course, with that awesome Kraken theme that plays while
Yep.
it's attacking. They had to come up with a plan, like, how are we going to damage it? Like, they actually shoot it with the cannons, which damages it. It kind of disappears. But I do love when it first shows up. It doesn't like immediately come in like attack. It like slowly its tentacles come out of the water, and I love when
Yeah.
the guys are looking out the portholes or the cannon holes, and it's just the little suction cups are kind of attaching to the cannons as it's going up. But yeah, it gets damaged, it goes down, and then it comes back, and they come up with a plan to get all the gunpowder and all the rum. Oh, the rum. Not the rum. I
Yes,
love everyone's
like-
face when they mention that. And they're
I
like,
know.
Gibbs is like,
Even Gibbs is like,
he's like, even the rum.
so
okay, use the rum.
remember everybody, rum is for drinking, not for burning. Which is a great song, by the way, by Senses Fail. It's about pirates, and it's
Yeah.
a great song.
That's so
So,
good.
It's good.
so listen to it if you haven't.
But yeah, their whole thing is to get it
Listen,
all.
got a good drink.
Yep.
They get it all together because they're gonna blow it up. Jack just ditches the ship, and Elizabeth notices. He's like,
Yeah.
"Goddamn coward!" Just
Yeah.
run away.
he's
And he notices like it's going bad. He's like, "I gotta go back."
Yep.
And everything's going crazy. Of course, Will is in like the worst situation. Why is Will always in the worst situations? In the first one, he gets stuck in the fucking in the brick there. But he's like trapped underwater. And then this one, he's stuck on the freaking whole thing as it's rising up.
Yep.
And of course, he cuts himself out as Jack shows back up, picks up the gun, and shoots an awesome slow-mo shot right into one of the barrels, blowing it up. And then you get a really cool effect of all of its, like, the tentacles are all damaged. They're all you see is just like the cartilage underneath. It's nasty. And it screams too.
Yeah, I didn't care much for that. It was quite cross.
Yeah. It was gnarly. So Elizabeth, then, she's like, "Oh, thanks for coming back, Dick." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta be the hero."
Yeah.
And of course, she kind of like plays it like she like is like all like hot for him now. She like makes out with him, but only to distract him enough to handcuff him to the ship. Because she's literally like, "It's not coming after us. It's not coming for the ship. It's coming for you."
Yeah.
He's like,
And Will sees it happen. He's like sees over the
Yeah.
side of the boat.
Which I guess from what I've read, that part was cut out of the script of Orlando Bloom's script, so his reaction was a little bit more genuine when he sees it. He didn't
Oh,
know it was going to happen.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
The genuine reaction.
That's good. I love when they do that in
I love it.
movies.
Listen, it's the magic of movie making, you know,
Yep.
when you do things like that, where it's like, if especially these two characters that are supposed to be so in love and like being like, yeah, you're not really in love with that other person, but like seeing the things like, oh well, I wasn't expecting that. Oh,
You know, they still had to have some form of chemistry
oh yeah, absolutely.
to, you know, be making out. But like the genuine reactions, like in Alien, where they don't realize what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I like the genuine reaction.
Yeah, they knew it was going to happen. They didn't know exactly how
When.
the scene was going to
Yeah,
play out.
like I like it when it's for their benefit, not
Alan Rickman, Die Hard.
or what's her face in The Shining.
Oh, when he
Where-
came to the
Shelley
door?
Duvall.
Yeah.
Or
through
just
the
mentally
reaction,
abused
her,
her.
her
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
can't wait to get into that one.
I don't like it when it's mentally detrimental. Like
Oh, absolutely.
that brought a lot to that scene.
So the one I mentioned, for those of you who don't know, Parker probably knows this, and I'm not like a hardcore fan, but I like the movie. In Die Hard,
Oh.
when Alan Rickman, the scene of him falling out of the window,
Yeah.
the shot on him.
Yeah.
Well, when
I know about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So people that don't know, when they did that scene, they were supposed to count 1, 2, 3 and let him go, and they got like 1, and then right at 2, they just dropped him. So his facial expression was 100% legit. He was not
That's
ready
so
for it at
good.
all.
They're like, this is the final scene.
Yeah, and they just kept that shot. It's so good, dude.
John McTiernan, man, that dude was a legend.
Yep.
He just, was it wiretapping? Not good. So yeah, she tricks him, handcuffs him to the ship, does the whole thing. She comes down. We're like, hey, where's Jack? Oh, he said he was gonna stay behind.
She's all bitter. Pissed off.
She's upset. She didn't want to do it, but
Yeah.
it was the only way I was gonna save everybody's life.
She's dealing with a lot.
Somebody's got to stay behind.
Yeah.
So we can get
So
away.
they venture off, and this is when you see Jack trying to get himself out of the handcuff. You get the whole thing where he gets he gets the wax to find, and then as soon as he gets his hand out, he turns, and the Kraken is there with all of its lovely teeth, and it roars at him, covering him in saliva, which is the stuff they used was concentrated saline.
Nice.
Yeah. Which they tested on his stunt double first to see how it would be, and then Johnny Depp actually had it done to him many times. By the way, he said it was one of the nastiest things he's had to do for a movie.
Oh, by the way, I want to point this out because the legend of we'll talk about this. Will lead into what I want to get to. The legend of the Kraken was based on real animals.
Yeah.
It was believed to be, of course, for those of you that don't know, the Architeuthis johnsoni, which is the giant squid, which is the reason I wanted to be a marine biologist. And then I don't remember the Latin name for the other one, but the colossal squid. Those are the two creatures believed to inspire the tale of the Kraken, because there were a lot more of them back in the day, a lot less boats on this, so they're more likely, if you saw them, usually when they come up toward the top of water, they were dying anyway.
Mhm.
So the likelihood of one attaching to a boat as it's dying is very possible.
Right.
So yeah,
Well, it's just like
but they also
it was like the whole thing about manatees looking like mermaids. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the obviously they don't have teeth; they have beaks. But carry on.
yeah, no, this was just a better design to make it scarier. But yeah.
Oh no, I get it.
Even though those fucking squid beaks could fucking damage you real good.
Yeah, and some of them are venomous. So
yeah, it's just terrifying.
Because it goes back to the whole tall tales of people on ship. They tend to
absolutely
over-exaggerate.
But also, if you think about like how long they were out there, the lack of food, the amount of sunlight they're getting, they're fucking all like, oh, they're seeing shit. I also question Davy Jones' design, like his face, the way his face looks. It kind of reminds me of like images of drawings of Cthulhu.
Yep. I got that vibe too. Well, we'll believe me. This year we're going to talk about a very similar incident when we end up talking about Deep Rising. So yes.
So we get the final showdown with Jack versus the Kraken. I love the epic stance. He knows he's gonna die, but he squares up to it. He's like, "Hello, beastie."
Yeah.
And we get the final shot as the thing is when the Kraken brings down the pearl, it doesn't break it. It just kind of drags it down.
Too strong.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And Davy Jones is like, "Well, I got to check the chest because I got to make sure my heart's in there." And then he opens up the chest because after the Black Pearl goes down, he's like, "Sparrow, your debt is now, repaid or gone or whatever." Yep. And then when he opens up the chest and notices the heart's not in there, he's like, "Jack Sparrow!"
And like water's coming out and shit.
Squirts out of his mouth. We see Norrington bringing the heart to Beckett, which will play a huge part in the third movie. Tia Dalma, they all then venture back to Tia Dalma. They're all sad because Jack's dead. And, they talk about, someone says something about like bringing him back. And she's like, "Do you want to do that?" And he's like, "Whoa, you're very eager about this. Whoa." And then, of course, she name drops the third movie. She's like, if you want to travel to the world's end, then you'll need some help. And who comes down the stairs? Good old Captain Barbossa with Monkey Jack on his shoulder and a nice, juicy Granny Smith apple. Oh, so good.
I wanted that fucking apple.
It was the greenest apple I've ever seen. I wanted it
juicy
so bad.
As fuck. It like ran down his face. It's like, I want that apple.
So good.
Every apple they have used in the first one, I was like, damn, that's a nice apple.
What you get for Hollywood? That's $1 million apples right there.
So their reaction to him showing up was genuine because they weren't told that Jeffrey Rush was going to be coming back. They actually thought that Zoe Saldana was going to be coming back as Anna Maria. And so when they saw him come down the stairs, like it's genuine reaction. I love it.
That's cool.
That's cool. I love it. Yeah.
I love Barbossa. I don't I think he's great in this trilogy, but we'll talk about it in the fourth and fifth one where they go with him.
Yeah.
Look at the monkey though. Look at him.
Yeah, don't trust that some bitch will kill you in your sleep.
All right, I'm gonna pull up our comments here.
Whip it out.
Whip it out. Here we go. So as you know, everybody, every week the day before we record, we do post on Twitter and Instagram about anyone who wants to leave a comment about what you thought of this movie and all that fun stuff. So we're gonna read some comments. We also had some help from our good friend Darren sharing our post. Yeah. So we're gonna start though with our an avid listener, Fiore Neko, who says, "Rented this from my local library, enjoyed it as a kid. Man, yeah. And then he says he's got to watch all of or listen to all of our Pirates episodes." And yeah. I said at that time, because we record these weeks ahead, they weren't released yet. So you got plenty of time, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you though. We do appreciate
but it's out right now when you're listening to this. It's clearly out.
Yeah.
Our next comment is from our good friend Darren Lundberg over at Nostalgia Cast, who said, "I like it a lot, even though it's pointless in the same way that the Back to the Future sequels are pointless, inventing brand new plot threads when the story had already ended satisfactorily. The set pieces are inventive, memorable, and fun, though." Yes. And then we have another comment from is this a long one? We got Michael Howe back to comment. Michael, yes. Michael asked if he could leave a long comment, and I'm never gonna say no because there's so much fun to read. So let me take a sip of my drink.
All right, let's brace in. I got my seatbelt.
Let's go.
Parker, and look at Parker and his mason jar compared to your mason jar.
Mine's almost empty too. I got a little splash in there.
So we start out. It says, in a number of cases, sometimes a director's vision is held back due to certain circumstances. Their style may be hampered by the studio, producers, etc., and their film may reflect the reining in. I find that the case with the following directors in their films: Tim Burton, Batman; Gore Verbinski, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl; Guillermo del Toro, Hellboy; and Michael Bay, Transformers. After these films did sell, the directors were able to make sequels, but were given more creative control, and in this way spun the films off in unexpected directions. In the case of Pirates of the Caribbean, Verbitsky basically seemed to undo all the happy endings that seemed to take place in the first film and sent the cast running around in this film, sometimes just doing things that seem a bit boring. I can agree with this, especially in this one. The film also makes one of the biggest mistakes with how to handle Jack Sparrow. Though he gets top billing in the first film, Jack was more of a supporting character, tying everyone's separate story elements together. He was memorable in these little bursts here and there. With DMC, his popularity suddenly means that Jack has to be the most important character in the world. At times, it felt like the studio kept passing notes to add more Jack, which would have led to a series of scenes in the third film. I feel there's a bit too much reliance on we can't do anything without Jack in the film, let alone the return of the character that, if he had stayed dead, might be more fondly remembered these days. On a more positive note, ILM's mocap advancements paved the way for a number of later film work, and it was great to see one of the great tech innovators, John Knoll, win for his work on this film. Yeah, John Knoll, legendary effects artist, has been part of ILM since the beginning, kind of helped found ILM. So it's cool to, I don't think he helped found ILM, but he was a huge, integral part of ILM for a long, long time. And then let me go. I know that Darren shared this, and I think he got a couple comments. He did get one comment from Andrew Fox McKay, who said, "My opinion is that it's the best film of the series by a wide margin.
Oh.
Still looks incredible too."
Very good.
Very, very cool.
Mhm. Well, I got a comment from Darren as well.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah. My favorite memory of this movie is watching it with a packed crowd on opening weekend, and when Captain Jack makes his first appearance, you could feel the wave of happiness that swept through that theater.
Dude, I agree. That is something like when you get a theater that like gets really excited for something like opening weekend, or you get that really good applause at the end and shit. That's just, you
Yeah.
can't beat that. It's so good.
Just, the Godzilla movie that we watched at the theater here in town,
Well, the first one we watched together, right? 2014?
where you were like, I could
Excited.
feel him
Oh, I was elated.
shaking. Like, I was holding his hand. I'm like, are you okay?
But you could get other people too, though.
But
that
like
were,
you could just feel it bouncing off of everybody, and like at the end, and everybody's just like clapping.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's good stuff,
That's
man.
great.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Well, that's it. That is Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. Next week, for episode 110, we will be venturing into the third film, Pirates of the Caribbean: At World's End. And then we're going to be taking a couple weeks off from the Pirates franchise, doing a couple other movies, which is fun. Maybe bring on some guests for those. I'm very excited. Won't mention who or what we're doing because I don't know. So it's going to be a good time. Yeah.
Always prepared here. Always.
But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I love these movies a lot, and to get to talk about them and rewatch them for the 1,000th time is always a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're very excited because in next week's episode probably is going to be a long one because the movie we're going to be talking about is almost 3 hours long, as is this one. So yeah, strap in, everybody. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok at Dissect That Film. We are on all the podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, all of them, Podbean, all those fun apps. Just type in Dissect That Film. Make sure if you can rate and review, please leave us 5 stars. We love more reviews. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave us 5 stars. It definitely helps us get into more people's ears. Good Pods has a cool little thing where you can leave comments on individual episodes, or you can leave a whole review on the show itself. It definitely helps the show out a lot. So please, if you listen to us on any of those platforms, please leave us a rating and a review. If you watch us on YouTube, we greatly appreciate you. And please like, comments, and subscribe. If you do, leave us a comment. I love to see the comments on our YouTube episodes. You get to see our faces. Not much goes on in the YouTube videos, but it's cool. Sometimes it's just a more fun experience. So
sometimes we do things that you're wondering, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
You won't know.
But sometimes I forget that we, mostly we're an audio podcast, but we do video. So there are times where I'm doing things and I don't mention what I'm doing for the audio audience there.
Yes, do.
But yeah, that's about it. You can find Dan and Angela on all their links that are going to be down in the description. We do have a shop where you can buy shirts with our logos on it, where I'm going to be trying to come up with some new designs and stuff to put on there. And also, we have a Patreon. For just $1, you can get our episodes early. Could be a couple days, it could be a week. It depends on how energetic I am to get those episodes out.
We'll get them. We'll get them.
Now you get them early. It's worth that $1. It's worth it. It helps us out. It gets helps us move towards making the show sound a little bit better, look a little bit better, all that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you everybody for all your support. And you got anything else? I don't think so.
No, these days, what can you buy for $1?
Exactly.
I mean, really.
You can buy a shitty beer for $1.
Sure can.
I drank one on our live stream. We did that charity. I had a shitty. It was. I mean, I drink worse for $1. I put worse things in my mouth for $1.
Oh no. All right, everybody. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan Angela from DNA Gaming, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 109. We'll see y'all again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.